Hello there my crafty friends, it's Terry from Veegstez Creates and I'm here today to make my first video and first project for iCrafter. So I have recently become a design team member for iCrafter and I am beyond excited and happy. They are a really innovative company that produce a range of dies, stencils, stamps, and the types of dies that they create are things that I've never even seen before. They're really innovative. So there's a couple of projects that I'm focusing on this month, which I'll show you. So we've got the iCrafter Scotty Holiday die set. So you've got these two little cute pooches. So they're really cute little dogs. They're absolutely adorable. And you can see straight away, you can see that the dies are blue, and like, how awesome is that? So that's great for a start off. They sort of stand out amongst your die collection. And as you can see in this set, there's these two cute little bows that the dogs have got, which I just think is adorable. So it's this Scotty Holiday, which is really versatile and can be used in so many ways. So you can see here it's been used to make a nice, clean and simple card. And I've also got the Buffalo Plaid stencil. So this is a really large stencil. This is actually 6 by 9.5, going from top edge to bottom edge. It's going to be a bit smaller, but it's huge. It's really large, which is really nice because it enables you to create bigger cards. So for example, as you can tell from my accent, if you're new to my channel, if you've come over to me from iCrafter's blog, you might notice my accent. So yeah, I'm in the UK. I do tend to make American A2 standard cards, 4 1/4 by 5.5, and to be honest, I think that's because when I started getting into card making, I was watching a lot of American YouTubers who use that size, but in the UK there's a similar size. I think it's C6, which is pretty much the same size, but we do use that size. And also 5 inches by 7 inches is a common size for us. So obviously that's quite a bit bigger. And this is just brilliant. I mean, this is great for slimline cards, you know, the full length slimline cards and the mini slimline cards, which seem to be all the rage at the moment. So that's a huge plus for the stencils, the fact that they're this large, and you don't usually see stencils of this size, to be honest. So they're the two main products that I'm focusing on this month as part of the new release for October. And I'm also using them in conjunction with some of the older die sets, some of the base die sets. So for my first project, I really wanted to use, I've been watching, before I got, when I applied to be part of the iCrafter design team, I set about doing lots of research and watching all of the YouTube videos on their channel, because I'm a bit of a geek like that. And I was always intrigued by this Box Pops oval base and just the mechanism and how it works, and the fact that it folds down flat and fits into an A2 envelope. So I really wanted to use these two, this one definitely, in conjunction with this, because what I'm planning to do is use some of the floral elements and turn them into trees. And obviously there's leaves there as well. So as it's October, which is autumn or fall, I want to make it a sort of, these cute little dogs are running through sort of like forest, you know, so there's leaves around and trees in the background, and I'll make some little flowers as well, I think. So that's the kind of thing I'm going for first. But what I wanted to do was just see what the stencil looked like embossed into cards. You might not have known this, but you can actually use stencils to emboss into paper or into cardstock, and just look how great that is. You can use whatever machine you have and an embossing mat in order to stretch your stencil. And I mean, I just think that looks really lovely and subtle for a tone on tone effect, but you could actually heighten that by rubbing an ink pad over, or some embellishment mousse or something to give it like a shine, or to stick to the raised area. So lots and lots of ideas. That's the debossed side, but I really like the embossed side. So what I'm going to do is, I've done that to 2 larger pieces of cardstock. This is some red, quite thick cardstock. I'm not quite sure, but I'd probably say that's probably 250 to 300 GSM, maybe 275. So I'm going to cut the base. So if you haven't made one of these before, there are videos on other videos on the iCrafter YouTube channel which show you a tutorial of how to make it, but I'm going to quickly show you how to do that now. So basically there's this one main die, so you cut this out twice, and it's well, as well as cutting it out, it gives you score lines so you know where to fold. And then it's got these 2 semicircular drop-in pieces that you put in and line up with a little notch, and these cut out little slits. So these are the top of the box pop here, these little semicircles. So you make 2 and stick them together, as you can see here, they're stuck together. So the slits actually enable you to put more decorative elements in. So I think what I'm going to do is make full use of the slits, and in fact I think I'm going to put 2 in the one section. So once I've run it through with that one, I'm going to run it through with the other one, so I can actually have 2. I might have the 2, because I'm thinking I'm going to have the 2 dogs in the foreground, and then I'm going to have trees and foliage, leaves poking around. So there we go. So I'm going to go away and do all of the cutting. So I'm going to do this to both pieces, and then I'll come back and show you the assembly. Okay, so I've done quite a bit of die cutting, including both of the little pooches. They are adorable. I also went through my paper scraps, which if you're anything like me, you have loads. I find there tends to be 2 types of people that just chuck away all their scraps if they have a small bit of paper and I think, oh, that's not going to do anything, I'll chuck it away. And then there's little magpies like me who think that could come in for something one day, therefore I keep it. And so I have 2 boxes that are about A4 size and that deep, full of scraps. So any opportunity I get to use up some scraps, that's what I'll do. And as you saw with this project, the base is red and it's all around autumn or fall. So I wanted autumnal colours, so red, orange, green. So it's all changing from the sort of lush greens into the sort of orangey, yellowy, browny, coppery kind of colours. So I was looking at the die set, and obviously this die set, the way it's set up is that the stems cut like this. So the idea is that you pop the flower head on the top and then you pop the leaves on there. But obviously I'm sort of wanting to make trees, not flowers. So here's what I've done for an example, and this is the sort of the way my thinking is going. So I've cut out a scrap like this is I'm using a mixture of like speciality paper, like this is like a satin mirror card in like a matte bronze, kind of rose gold bronze colour, and then patterned papers as well. Like I've got like quite a few like tartan or plaid papers in my stash. There's a couple that I found out. I think when you're using patterned papers, it's best to not use like too many different ones because you don't want to make them clash, but I think just using these two and keeping that pretty consistent, I thought would look really nice. So far I've got a pile of leaves. These are the little dogs. I've told you what I'm going to do with them. And now I'm going to show you how to assemble the bases. So to assemble the box pop oval base, you fold down all of the score lines, not forgetting the side score line like I did. There we go. And then it's really easy. You add some adhesive. You can either use some strong double-sided tape. In construction I usually use a red liner tape, or you can use a glue that you know is really strong, and sometimes I use both, so today I'm just going to go for a strong glue. So you just apply some glue directly to that, and then fold the base down over it. So if you turn it around like that, you can see that it doesn't go all the way to the top. We do that to both of them, and we put something heavy on it. So I'm going to move that out of the way and put that under my stamping platform and guillotine, just to for the glue to dry. The glue I happen to be using is one that I know to be one that's very strong, and it grabs quite quickly. So just make sure that you're confident in your whatever it is adhesive that you choose to use. There we go. And again, I'll stick that under the same place with its little friends. So we'll wait for those to dry for a little bit, and I will start colouring up my little dogs and assembling my little trees. So I shall be back in a moment with those. I thought I'd pop back on and show you a bit of very basic colouring. I've coloured up this little poochie in using the warm grey tones of my Copics. And there's also, you can probably see, there's a tiny little die that cuts a little eye. That rhymes. So I've cut that out and stuck them on both of them, because this one's naked, he hasn't been coloured in yet, and I'm going to do the same but with warm grey. So they just look, because obviously they're white, but nothing is ever truly white. It's always got some colour pigmentation to it. So I'm using my Copics, which you don't have to use expensive markers. You could do the same technique with cheap markers, with water based pen, brush pens, with colouring pencils, anything like that, just whatever you prefer. But what I tend to do is just something like this, where I'm not going to colour the whole image. All we want to do is to give the illusion of some depth and sort of dimension. We want him to look 3D. We don't want him to just look like a flat white cutout. Well, I mean, you could if you wanted to, but if you wanted to step it up a notch, you can just do something like this, where you're just adding little gentle flicking motions with some different colours or variations of the same colour. So I'm using W2 at the moment, so that's a very light colour, and and just to go around the edges and do some gentle flicking motions to give the illusion of fur basically. And by going around the edges, that's showing that there's darkness towards the edges and lightness towards the middle, as there is when things are 3D. And then some areas there'll be a bit more darkness than others. So for example on this one, like around his sort of hind leg there, you can see I've gone in with a darker grey, and in his ear fluffs and under his chin. This one is different because he's jumping, so it's more going to be sort of more uniform. Now you'll notice I keep moving this around, and that's because for me I can get a better flick when I flick, or I can get more control and a lighter flick when I flick upwards. So obviously in order to do that I need to keep moving my image around. Just that's a little tip for you. Now obviously, you know, this, you don't have to be doing anything like this. I'm not a professional artist or anything like that by any means. I just do really enjoy colouring, and I think, you know, if we can make something look a bit more realistic and a bit more lifelike, then why not? But I say this is a white dog, so ultimately we've not got to do a lot to him at all. And then I'll probably go in with the lightest colour. That's what I did on the other one, on his little friend. You might be able to see. I think you can see there along the body. I've gone in and added some of the C0, which is the very lightest one. More onto his actual body, so hopefully you'll start to see him sort of come to life a bit. It doesn't have to be perfect. Yeah, you see I've gone a bit thicker there, but that's okay. Okay, so that's going to be his hind leg there, isn't it? This is all long fluff, because they have quite long fluffs, don't they? Little Westies. And then I'll go in with W0 and just add a few little flicks here and there onto his body, to give the illusion of the odd bits of sort of shadows in the main fur of his body. And I say this whole thing's only taking a couple of minutes, but it's something that I really enjoy. If you don't enjoy it, you don't have to do it. It's just a few tips that if you do, and if you have some alcohol markers but you're not very confident with them, or it's like, well, how do I go about colouring something that's white? There you go. So you can see, camera seems a bit bright. I think it's because I brought the camera down much closer to my desk, but I'm going to bring you up a little bit. There you go. Do I hold it like that? I think it's the way the light is today. It's quite a bright day, but you can just see he's got some more dimension to him now. He's not so solid. So there we go. There are two little Westies. We've got one that's more of a cool grey and one that's more of a warm grey. So next I am going to assemble some trees. So I'm going to have him in the middle. So we're going to stick something on the back, on the bottom, so he sort of lines up flush there with the bottom. So I'm going to have him there. I'm going to have this one jumping forwards, but again higher. I'm going to have a tree here. Well, actually I'm going to have a couple of trees here, and I'm going to have some leaves. Oops, that's just dropped into the box. Some leaves sort of coming out there, and I'm also going to decorate the base with some leaves as well. So I'm going to do that assembly now off camera and then come back to you in a moment with the finished article. See you in a mo. Okay, so I'm at the point where I have decorated and finished off all of my little elements. We have a few trees here. We have a flower component which I've repurposed into a bush. We have another bush here and a few leaves. I've decorated the back of that, put some leaves on the back so that it looks nice on the back as well. Decorated the front and the back of the card with leaves and florals. And it's just at the point now where I know where I want everything to be, and it's about sticking it all together. In the Box Pops oval base die set, you get this little die here, which you can use to stick onto the back of things that you want to go into these slots. And then you'll see here that there's a score line. So for example, I could have, if I wanted to put him here, I could have stuck this onto him and that through there, then that bends up and then you glue this part to the underside of there. But what I've chosen to do is, instead of using that die, I've sort of used an adaptation. So basically I've used the stem die for the tree trunks. And I want the tree trunks to be at different heights, and I want them next to each other in this panel here. So what I've done is I just stuck a bit of extra cardboard on there, so that one will go here. So I'm going to stick that to the underside of the base, and then this one, it's going to fall down now. Take that out. This one I'm going to stick on, I've stuck on another piece, and I'm going to stick this to the bottom. So we're going to end up with two trees at different heights. And it's best to do this before assembling the box, so gluing the tabs together, so that you can get in there and use your finger and stick things down. So I'm just going to show you how I'm going to do it. Basically, we're going to do it together, because I often don't use things in the conventional way, but you know, sometimes there's a reason for it. And I say with this, you know, that the die included would have been too thick for this. So I used the same principle but came up with my own way of working it. So you can see what I've done there. Added a bit of glue to the bottom, put it through, and now I'm just sitting here with my finger onto this little bit here, sticking it down onto the bottom. So I'm really pleased with the way this is coming along. It's very autumnal or fall-like, so I'm really pleased with that. There you go, you can see what that looks like from the inside now. And then, so for this one, we want the sticky on the top. Okay, so I'm just holding that in place. Obviously, as you can see, there's a bit of glue that has made its way onto the front of the card there, but or maybe you can't, I was out of shot, sorry about that. But I'm just holding it in place with my finger until that dries, and then these sticky stuff remover rubbers are quite handy for getting rid of any bits of glue that are where you don't want them to be. In a moment, once I'm more confident that the glue has dried properly, I'll flatten that and then get rid of that bit of glue that you can see there. Now for the front, well, for the middle, you can see that I have stuck our little Westie onto a small bit of card, just these little bottom bit of his paws and his hind leg. And then I also cut another Westie, so I've sort of sandwiched this bit of card between the two. So he is going to stick here. I don't want any of this card to be visible, I just want him to be visible. So I'm just going to hold that there with my fingers. Oh, actually, I need to move that over. Oh, that's okay. I was just making sure it wasn't going to get in the way of the mechanism here. That should be fine. So I'm just going to hold that for a few seconds. Doesn't he look dapper though with his little bow tie? Very cute. And I've really enjoyed making this project. I think it's really fun to use things in ways in which they weren't initially intended. So, you know, let's face it, you know, we invest a lot of money in our craft supplies and we want to be able to use them in lots of different ways. So we need to know that our craft supplies are versatile. And, you know, you can see from this just how versatile it is. You know, there are no trees included in this set, but I've made it into a woodland sort of setting with the trees, just using this die. Oh, yeah, this one here. So it's just a bit of outside the box thinking, and it's amazing what we can achieve. This one, again, is another one of these, which I had spare, and I thought would look perfect here for a bush. So again, this is holographic mirror cardstock, and as crafters know, this doesn't like to stick that well or without mess. So we're going to have to probably do a little clean-up job on that as well, but that's okay, because we often do, and that's fine. So with this one, again, it's just, we're going to be stuck in place here. So I'm just holding the base there with my finger. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that that's glued down, and then for our other little Westie, so I've put a leaf on his hind leg so that he's sort of running and jumping through the leaves, and then I'm going to pop him in there, and again, I'm just, in order to secure him in there, I've just folded this over and burnished it, and I'm going to pop some glue on there. And then once he's secured in, I'm going to show you how to then assemble the box pop. So it's a little bit fiddly, but this is the way that I'm choosing to do it. It's much less fiddly if you use the piece that's actually intended to go in those slots. It's just the way that I'm choosing to do it because I'm using smaller elements. You know, this is going to be one of those cards that's a wow card. You know, when you gift a card, an interactive card to people, they are generally sort of like amazed, like, wow, how did you make that? That's like amazing. You know, you can't buy things like this in the shops. So, you know, it really is like a sort of a wow special card. And I've left this card sentiment free deliberately because it's really versatile. I could see this card being given to someone who is a dog lover and a nature lover, likes to take their dogs on walks. Maybe they even own some Westies, or maybe an anniversary card. for a couple that owns a couple of Westies or a couple of dogs, and again are quite outdoorsy. It could be a happy birthday to you know, if someone's got a couple of Westies and it's their birthday, it could be a little dog birthday card, because people do things like that. They buy presents and cards to their dog or their cat, you know, so it could be something like that. It's really versatile. Or it could be a Christmas card actually, or a Thanksgiving card, or even just something like a thinking of you card. You know, maybe it's you haven't seen someone in a while due to all of the craziness that's been going on in the world, COVID and whatnot, and you and your friend have both got a Westie, and you like to meet up and go and walk together on sort of walking holidays and have like nice walks with your dogs. So it might be you know, looking forward to meeting you again and doing that kind of thing card. So it's very versatile, ultimately, is what I'm blathering on about. Hence why I've left it sentiment free, and there's plenty of places to put a sentiment. You could put one across here, or the back, or you could have a sentiment sticking onto the bush so it sticks out here, you know, or into one of these slots. So now for our assembly portion, we're going to first want to adhere these two, the centre ovals. So we want our adhesive all over this, including those little tabs. Okay, so I am lining them up. And just pinching there to make sure that they are adhered. This is starting to look so cute already. So cute. And once we're sure that all of this is adhered, we can adhere the sides. So I'm just going to hold this for a minute. So now this is what it's going to look like when it's folded down flat, and this is the time that we now go ahead and adhere the side flaps. So again, we use liquid adhesive on each of these tabs, and it's easiest to do it in this flattened manner. So again, we've got to check that it's all lined up together and just hold it for a second, so until it's fully grabbed on, and then we're going to repeat the process with the other side. And once that's done, we'll be able to see our box pop card in all its glory. Okay, that's lined up perfectly. Okay, so the sides should be adhered now, and let's see our box pop in all its glory. So what we do, we press down gently on these sides, and they slot into the little slits. And there we go. There is our box pop card. How cute is that? Adorable. So you can see all the different layers, the little cute pooches running through the woodland. and our box pop. And then in order to flatten the card, you just press down on the base and it folds flat. And here we go. So using our Scotty Dog Holiday die set, our Buffalo Plaid stencil, which we used to emboss the cardstock that we made the box pop out of, and the box pop's oval base die, and several of the elements which we used in the card. So I really hope that you've enjoyed this video tutorial. I will have another one coming soon using the same products actually, but it's going to be something completely different. So I hope you'll join me for that too. And also just to remind you to keep an eye on the blog, because there will regularly be new projects by the design team showcasing off the new releases that we have at iCrafter. So it's very exciting. There's lots of new releases to come. And yeah, so that's pretty much all from me today, Terry. Feel free to have a look around my YouTube channel if you like, and if you did like this video tutorial, it'd be great if you would use your thumbs and give me a thumbs up, and feel free to leave me any comments that you like in the comment section below, and I will always get back to you. So see you again soon for some more crafty goodness. Bye for now.